Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, Dirty Fanatics United is pertinent reporting at you live on a Friday night, episode 145 coming at you tonight, guys. We have a very, very special guest coming tonight to speak Falcon football with you guys. So stay tuned. He will be in the building about 8:30. John Abraham himself will be in the building with DFU talking Falcon football. I am your host, C Money here. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, guys. We are on the road to 1K, and I must say, you new subscribers showed out last week because we gained over 25 new subscribers in a week last week. I think that alone deserves a round of applause. Thank you guys for tuning in and interacting with what we do here at the channel. Getting the show started, man. I am your host, C Money, as already stated. I am followed by a numerous amount of co-hosts here at DFU. I have my guy Cody to the right of me of your screen, my guy Cody Keeler. Below me, my guy Philip, none other than the man himself. Amos Avenue is in the building. And my guy Robert Megabip is here to talk Falcon football. Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, because, guys, this is going to be a great show. Cody, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here tonight for the John Abraham special. Yes, Falcon fans that are just now tuning in, John Abraham will be here at 8:30, so stay tuned for that. Cody, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, I've been looking forward to this all day. You know, John Abraham, one of my favorite Falcons all time. Matter of fact, I found my John Abraham jersey for tonight. Threw that bad boy on, ready to talk to John. Man, let's go, boys. This channel, we're just growing, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much bigger we get after this one.
Absolutely, Cody. It's always a fun time to have a special guest, Mike Johnson, buddy from 92.9 The Game. Everybody that comes on the show, man, always has something special that they bring to the show, and to have John Abraham here for the second time, Cody, not the first, but the second here, man, it really speaks volumes to the kind of person John is to take the time out of his day, busy schedule as John always has, to come talk Falcon football. Philip, what's going on, man? I know you're excited for tonight's show. We have a big one for you guys today. Philip, what's going on?
Just a little technical issues, bro. I don't know what's going on here lately, but maybe we can get it fixed. I don't know. Maybe it's done now. I don't know, man. Maybe the weather's got a little hold of it. But other than that, man, we're blessed to be here. It's going to be a fun night. Can't wait to, see what tonight holds.
The insights of John Abraham. Robert, I know you're stoked for this show as well. Robert, glad to have you here tonight to talk Falcon football. Robert, how you been, brother? And what do you look forward to in most of speaking to the legend himself, the all-time sack leader, John Abraham, here with DFU? Robert, what do you have to say about that, brother? What's going on?
Just still on the mend from the eye surgery, slowly but surely getting better, and I am super stoked to have John on the show tonight. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. Just, ask him about his time here with us, with the Falcons, what his first thoughts were, when he found out the Jets were sending him our way, which, the Jets are a bunch of idiots, and we appreciate them being their normal stupid selves and letting a legend come to our team. We greatly appreciate that. And, it's going to be an honor and a privilege to have him on tonight.
Absolutely, Robert. Any kind of special guest is a great special guest, but to have John Abraham, man, what a legend to bring here to the channel, not only for us, but for the viewers as well that tune into DFU. As my guy Keith Simmons with the first comment tonight. Family, what's going on, Keith? Glad to have you here tonight for this special show for DFU. Matt Town Dirty in the chat with it earlier said, what's up, fellas? Matt Town, what's going on, man? A-Town down, baby. Rise up. Georgia, Texas boy is in the chat with it. He said, what's going on, DFU?
Got it
and
right.
Falcons family. The new era is here. The Atlanta Falcons will rise in 2025. Rise up, baby. Rise up. South Side Ricky is in the building with it, Falcon fans. He said, what's going on, fellas? You already know what's going on, South Side. We ready to talk some Falcon football, baby. It's Friday, another Friday closer to a Sunday night or Sunday morning in Atlanta in the Benz. Falcon fans, we are here to chat with you tonight. Stormy Sap Mama in the chat with it. She says, happy Friday, DFU. Happy Friday, Mama. Glad to have you in the chat with it. Appreciate the comment. Keith Simmons says, the Falcons' biggest pickup this offseason is Ulbrich and defensive line coach Ollie. Chat, co-host crew, let's talk about it for a second, because as soon as the draft was finalized and we knew our picks and what we had achieved in this draft, the first thing I said when we came to this podcast was what? Jeff Ulbrich was the biggest signing the Atlanta Falcons did this whole offseason. Jeff Ulbrich had such a phenomenal intake on what the Falcons did draft night, and I truly mean that, because you've seen the reaction video when the Falcons trade back in and go get James Pierce. Ulbrich's banging on the door in the draft room like, hey, man, like, you got my guy. Like, you got James Pierce here in Atlanta. Jeff Ulbrich, man, the demeanor and the physical side of the ball that he's brought to this defense, I'm so excited for what this future holds here in Atlanta. Cody, Philip, Rick, you want to elaborate on this? Robert, my bad, not Robert.
Yeah, man, I would say it's another thing. I was say, a matter of fact, the Jets. You talk about the Jets giving up John Abraham. Then turn around and give us Jeff Ulbrich. Him being familiar here in Atlanta. He was part of that 16 team. Where that defense was so important to that team. And I was like, yeah, we were scoring a ton, but you know what? Our defense was the first time in God, as long as I can remember, that we were a top 15, top 10 defense. So to have him back in the building, with Coach Raw, and it means a lot to this defense, man, especially when you get two absolute dogs, in Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., accompanied by Billy Bowman and then Xavier Watts, man.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be something special, dude. And you were right. I think this is probably, as far as a coaching standpoint, was absolutely a home run hit. It's going to play out big for the Atlanta Falcons this year.
Absolutely. Philip, your take on the signing of Jeff Ulbrich this offseason, man. What did this do to this defense? You had a pretty rough year with Jimmy Lake, a bunch of highs and lows when it came to last year's defense. You started the season off pretty well. You wasn't getting to the quarterback, but the defense was playing decent football in the first half, and then it progressed very badly towards the end of the season. Michael Penix going into overtime twice to end his first season in Atlanta. Philip, defensively, man, Ulbrich in the building now, as Cody stated, back with Coach Raheem Morris, the Super Bowl duo from 2016, is here in Atlanta now. That is your coaching staff as of today. Jeff Ulbrich, Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson. Philip, was Jeff Ulbrich not the best signing the Falcons made this offseason, or just in a whole general, what does Jeff Ulbrich bring to the Atlanta Falcons?
He kind of, I like that, the way you put it. What does he bring? He kind of reminds me of Raheem players when I played for him. It's just the type of vibe that he brings, that he gives to Atlanta. He's been here before. He called it home. I'm back home. Same as Coach Ross said, he said, I'm back home. Mm-hmm. It's just that warm feeling that he already knows what we got to do, what this city wants. He knows what our wants are. Gave it to us. He went out and had more say-so, and like going to see players, scouting, and and certain things like that, just certain scouting things, and he was some of the say-so in this, and they took his word for it, and they went and got one of his players that he wanted. That says a lot. So I'm excited to what he's going to do this year. So
Absolutely. Robert, a great question here, or comment here from Mr. Keith in the comment section. He talks about, we've been going around the table about Jeff Ulbrich, but let's talk about a defensive line coach here, Ollie. A big persuasion in what's happened this in your 3-4 defense, or whatever the Falcons may run this offseason or this coming up season. Robert, what style of football do you believe Coach Ulbrich and defensive lineman Coach Ollie brings to the Atlanta Falcons, just off of the 2 draft picks these guys selected in the first round?
I think you're going to see an aggressive play style. And one thing that, we've touched on a couple of podcasts ago, these guys have NFL experience, and, they're going to bring, I think they're going to give this defense an identity. That's something that's been lacking. And I think that, and nothing personal against Jimmy Lake. But, he was a first-time NFL coordinator. He was trying to find himself. He was trying to find, what worked best for the talent that he had. I think that Jeff and Ollie, they've already got the mindset in what they want to do, what they want to bring to the table, and what they're looking to get out of the talent. And obviously, we hit a home run in the first round of the draft, and of course the later rounds too. I think you're going to see an aggressive, hard-hitting style. You're going to see us get after the quarterback. I don't think you're going to be seeing any more 15 yards off the line of scrimmage and giving these receivers, just wide open shots. It's going to be a fun time to be a Falcon fan, especially if you love defensive football.
Winning football in Atlanta, Robert, and that's where it starts, on the defense side of the ball, most specifically in the trenches, where the Atlanta Falcons dove deep in the first round here of the draft. Shout out to Keith Simmons for the comment here. We just ran 15 minutes off the Keith Simmons comments, guys. Bring your questions to the chat, guys, because this runs the podcast. Wallace Smith in the chat with it said, "What's good, fam? Wallace, glad to have you tonight, man. We got a legend in the building coming up very shortly, about 8:30-ish. John Abraham, the legend, the sack leader, the sack holder himself, John Abraham, number 55 with Atlanta. Abno in the chat says, "Yo, what's going on? I'm glad to have you tonight, brother. You're going to enjoy this show." King Richie is in the chat with it. Said, "What's good, fellas?" King Richie, what's going on, brother? Glad to have you tonight. Southside Ricky with it said, "I had a John Abraham jersey in high school. If I remember correctly, I left it at a young lady's house, and we ended up on bad terms. She cut it up and threw it in the trash." God.
Oh, man.
You burned her house down, right?
Ricky, we got to be more slick with it, baby. Got to be more slick with it. Keith Simmons in the chat said, "You can see the defensive vision with Ulbrich and Ra." Absolutely. As my guy Robert stated, the identity that these coaches bring to a team. And that's what, if you think back to the 16 season, a lot of people hated the Dan Quinn slogan of, brotherhood. That was the slogan. But that's legitimately what what it was. Like that's what this team was.
During that time, people started after the 16 season, they felt like it was dragged. But during that time, we all got to admit, we loved that brotherhood saying. We loved it. That's what we as fans was built together. We were brought back, and that's what he built. And they were a part of that. So that's what they're trying to bring back. And it seems everybody with this draft, everybody's back together until we started picking numbers, but we're still somewhat back together.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that is a topic here before John gets to the show. I don't want to, we got a legend in the house. I don't want to ask him silly questions about numbers, but before John Abraham does get here, we're going to talk about that, and we'll go ahead and hit that topic right now. Philip, they announced it that our guy Jalen Walker would wear number 11, which all fans, I wouldn't say all fans, me, I don't see a problem with it. Now let's talk about it for a minute. Let's go through the cycle of why some fans had the issue with the number 11 and a defensive player wearing that. Because of what Julio brought to – I mean, guys, I'm a huge Julio fan. It's right here on the wall. I mean, I love number 11. Always will. Always have a special heart for – or place in my heart for number 11. That always will be the GOAT of Atlanta at receiver position, unless Drake London can top what Julio brought to the A. But the terms that Atlanta and Julio ended on, you don't see a rookie wearing number 2 this year. You don't see – I mean, you just don't see it because it probably won't happen. The Atlanta Falcons did make a post. They don't retire numbers. They made a post about it saying we don't retire numbers. We have a ring of honor. But guys like Ryan that leads the franchise the correct way and still continues to work with players like Michael Penix. I mean, it's not even Matt Ryan's duty to have to work with Penix.
Is having dinner with him in 2 weeks.
The next week or two. Yeah, I mean, so the video goes viral today or yesterday of Matt Ryan and Michael Penix FaceTiming. And it's just like you can see how much Matt Ryan really cares about the city of Atlanta and how well Arthur Blank's team does even after the Matt Ryan era. So let's talk about that here for a minute. Cody, starting with you, the number 11 Jalen Walker will represent. I have no issue with it. Cody, your stance on the number 11 with Jalen Walker.
Yeah, no, I've got no problem with it. I would say, to me, the only number that's untouchable is the number 2. Nobody should ever get to wear that number in Atlanta again. And it's not because Julio wasn't a great player and not because he didn't do great things, because Julio, by all means, I have no problem when people go, who's the greatest Falcon of all time? And you get the Matt Ryan guys and you get the Julio Jones guys. To me, they're 1A, 1B. That's a toss-up either way that you look at it for me. But the difference is how Matt left and what he continues to do here in Atlanta. Matt Ryan told us he wanted to bring the city a Super Bowl. I don't think Matt Ryan cares if he did it. Now, I know Matt wanted to do it on the field. Absolutely. But I think Matt Ryan's also thinking, if I can bring it off the field by helping Michael Penix, if I can help, coach up, train, teach, whatever he's got to do, however he can help bring that title to Atlanta, he's happy to do it. So, again, it's not that I don't think that Julio's number shouldn't be worn or should be worn like Matt's never should be worn. I have a feeling kind of once Julio and the Falcons get over whatever beef or whatever's going on between the Falcons and Julio, then there might be that conversation of, hey, look, We may not retire numbers, but just like number 2, 11's, you know, it's available, but it's not available.
So Cody, here's the question that Falcon fans that are worried about number 11. Julio's officially retired. How long does it take for Julio to be entered into the Ring of Honor? Because there's rumors circulating, and I've even seen it on the Waterboy show. There's rumors circulating that Julio stated he will not step another foot inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And there's been events that Julio has not attended that Julio possibly should have been at. Matt Ryan, Ring of Honor.
Thing, yeah.
So let's talk about this. Roddy White, Tom McClure. Let's talk about these type of situations where you look at a number and you say, hey, you can't wear that number. But what is that number other than what he did when he was drafted here in Atlanta? And phenomenal player. GOAT, as he will always be in Atlanta. But number 11 didn't close out his tenure in Atlanta the correct way, in my opinion.
Right.
And that's just how
Yeah, no, and you're 100% right. And I think that's the only reason that the Falcons don't treat the number 11 like they do the number 2 number. It's unfortunate, and it really does suck because I would like to see number 11 never be worn again. Just like the number 2. Julio deserves that. But I also understand it from the Falcons standpoint of like, look, hey, yeah, we understand that you were a great player and you're legendary, and not only just in the Falcon organization, but let's be for real. I mean, Julio Jones is, to me, arguably top 5 all time. Absolutely. And I don't care if that makes people upset or what, but he is. It's just the way he left Atlanta I think is the big issue. Again, hopefully they solve that, they figure that out, and cooler heads prevail. But until Julio comes back, and
how do you think, Philip, this question's coming to you, how do you think the Atlanta Falcons felt the day of the Shannon Sharp and the Julio Jones radio call aired? How do you think the Atlanta Falcons took that call when it was still up in air if the Falcons would initially even have Julio Jones? Before it even broke news, Julio broke it on live TV, on live radio. Philip, number 11 in Atlanta, the number 11 situation is already, the argument's closed. Jalen Walker will wear number 11. Philip, what do you have to say to Falcon fans that are kind of hurt about Jalen Walker, the young rookie, your first-round pick, number 15, the one that will probably be the best linebacker you've signed since Deion Jones? Mm-hmm. Philip, how do you feel, or what would you say to those Falcon fans that do not agree with Jalen Walker wearing number 11?
This is the way I see it, and it draws back to what you guys were saying. At the end of the day, Julio wanted out at the end of the day. It's not the fact that he wanted out. It's the way he done it. Yes, I get it. He didn't know he was on live television, but you still said it in that type of way. So you had hard feelings from that start. That itself expresses itself. Like you said, legend in its core. He's number 11. He's known for the number 11. All this other crap that he wore, elsewhere. It is what it is, man. I couldn't think of anything Julio without 11. But at the end of the day, we haven't retired the number. He wanted out. Things are the way it is. But this is also, like I read a comment, and I've even said this before, we should have an 11 club like the Cowboys do, the 88. It is what it is, It's just a number at the end of the day. And it's just a thing, in my opinion, like how I feel about number 2 is, yes, players come in and they're like, yes, I can wear that, but I want to feel the respect that I have to earn to wear that number if that's how I'm going to do it. I'm not just going to come in and walk in and grab it. I feel like that's how it is for 11, and then a player for like Jalen Walker to walk in there and wears it. He's already proved it as a top-tier player, and I feel like Julio would be okay with him wearing 11. It is what it is. That is a worthy player that, in my eyes, that deserves to wear that number. So it is what it is. I see it as a number at the end of the day. So I'm not too big upon how people feel. Yes, when I think of 11, yes, I think of Julio. But now I'm going to think of Jalen Walker.
So Philip said, pretty much in a nutshell, Philip said, when you clock in at the gate, leave your feelings at home. That's kind of
it is what it is. Like, I mean, it's just how you put it this way. So if somebody takes number 2, yes, I probably wouldn't like it, but at the end of the day, I can't tell somebody, hey man, you can't wear number 2. That's Matt Ryan's number. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is what it is. I can't change it. So I would have to put my feelings aside and still cheer on that player.
Question from Mateo in the chat. So, where's my man J.A.? John Abraham will be with DFU around 8:30ish. John's running a little late, had some errands pop up that he had to take care of. John should be here about 8:30ish, is from what I have in my text message. So stick around, Mateo. He'll be here shortly before you know it. And Mateo, next comment says 7 and 21. So here we go with the 7. Let's talk about the 7. Robert, real quick with you at the number 11. Let's go to Robert real quick. Number 11, Robert, what would you say to Falcon fans, as well as I asked Philip, that are in argue of Jalen Walker representing number 11 here in Atlanta?
Well, Mateo already touched on my point. The two biggest stars that we have had in the last 30 years are Deion Sanders and Michael Vick. Both of those numbers, 7 and 21, are still available. We've had Younghoe Koo wear 7. Bijan's wearing it now.
Wearing 21.
We've had Desmond Trufant. We had Todd Gurley wearing 21. I don't think that Michael or Deion had an issue with it. And honestly, I don't know if Julio would have an issue with Jalen wearing number 11 because, like Philip said, at the end of the day, it's just a number. And if someone comes along and takes the number 2, would Matt have an issue with it? I seriously doubt that. But, there's a lot of numbers, and I've been a Falcon fan for many years. To me, the number 10 is sacred. Steve Bartkowski was my boyhood idol. But even that number's not retired. Mm-hmm. So,
12 for me.
And, I think if a player comes in and knows that a number is attached to a legend when it comes to a Falcons player, they're going to want to earn the right to wear that number. And Jalen's a good kid. I think he's going to be hungry. He wants to prove himself in the NFL, and he wants to earn the right to wear that number 11.
Absolutely.
And, absolutely. If the fans get hurt by it, like Philip said, it's just a number, people. I mean, it's
for all them people commenting, talking about all this other crap to me. Yes.
Exactly.
What else is 11 to you? It's a number. Yeah. It is a number at the end of the day. What else would it be?
For those in the comment section wondering,
back when Michael Vick broke his leg in 2003, a guy named Doug Johnson that wore number 11. The number, it's just a number. It's not like, like the New York Yankees, 1 through 10. I think there's only 2, which will be retired for Derek Jeter. Nobody wears number 3 because of Babe Ruth. Nobody wears number 4 because of Lou Gehrig. Number 5 for Joe DiMaggio, on and on and on. But, as much as it pains me to say this, the Atlanta Falcons do not have that legendary status as a sports icon that the New York Yankees have.
No, and let's just say in 2016, Julio and Matt Ryan did pull out the Super Bowl. Those numbers probably would never be wore again, ever.
No, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And same with Bartkowski and Deion Sanders and Vic. If those go and get that ring, like if Penix goes and gets the ring for Atlanta, I don't think Penix will ever have to worry about another player.
That is a good thing.
Number 9
Number 9 is going to mean something in the future, but I guarantee you people are going to continue on with that number 9. It's just how it goes. It's just going to keep going and going. Somebody is eventually going to take number 2, and a lot of us is not going to be happy with it, but we can't.
Could it be?
We can't put our feelings aside.
Could it be Kobe?
Could be, but like I said, we may not like it, but at the end of the day, we got to put our feelings aside to cheer on that guy. He's still on our team at the end of the day. We can't hate him just because he chose a number. Right? Let's be real.
Falcon fans, we are a few. Go ahead, Cody. We're a few short moments away from John Abraham joining the channel. Falcon fans, y'all stick around because John has some insights to share with you guys watching DFU. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same thing with 7 and 21. Like, look, Michael Vick was iconic, and he definitely changed the game of football, and probably the greatest Madden broken player of all time. But look, you can't lie to the owner and expect your number to be that kind of sacred. And this one will probably get me crucified because I know people love Deion, and I love Deion. But let's be honest, how long was Deion here? Wasn't very long.
5 years.
Did he do it? 5 years he was here, and he wanted out so bad, and then went and talked all that trash about how he built how he built the Georgia Dome, and you were great, but at the same time, like, you left on not great terms here in Atlanta, and then you come back as a 49er who at the time was, the Falcons' biggest rival. And then you tried to fight Andre Rison, who was a huge
Like your
star
brother.
here in
Like it was your
Atlanta.
brother.
So
That was your
I
brother here
mean,
in
like you
Atlanta.
say, at the end of the day, they're just numbers, and I understand the sentimental value behind them. I get it. Believe me, I played for 10 years, and the number 55 sticks with me everywhere I go. Like that was my number, but at the same time, I'm never going to be like, hey, nobody can ever wear that number again because I wore that number. So I get
Cody,
it,
speaking of number 55, we have a special guest in the the man himself, the legend number 55, the sack holder himself. John, what's going on, brother? Glad to have you here tonight.
going on.
Come on, fellas.
Talking a little bit of Falcon football, man. We appreciate you coming through, brother. How you been since the last time you've been on the show, man? What's been going on?
I am a SEC graduate.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, man,
Congratulations.
I'm doing weird shit that we ain't supposed to do. Yeah, I walk the stage tomorrow, so I'll be graduating from the University of South Carolina. Yeah, it took me about I had like 30 credits left. I knocked it out, so I'm happy. It's more like for the kids. So my oldest daughter won't keep bragging about she the first one to graduate college. I'm like, let me be number 2 at least.
Absolutely, John. Well, congratulations to that, man. Your new endeavors in that, brother. We appreciate you coming by DFU to talk Falcon football, man. We jump right into it, brother. I don't want to take too much of your time. Starting from the top, man. The Atlanta Falcons really dove in this defensive draft. I mean, they went crazy the first round with Jalen Walker, and then they grabbed James Pierce towards the end of the round. Just in all, man, what do you think about that draft pick and the draft selection of Jalen Walker at number 15?
It was a lucky pick because he ended up dropping, and I think it would have been the dumbest thing they would have ever done if they didn't draft a defensive player. And I'm saying a defensive end or somebody to rush the passer. It's been years that they haven't had somebody consistent, and everyone knows that. And a lot of people were talking about how, oh, why would they go back and get another guy? Are y'all insane? Do y'all live in Atlanta? Do y'all watch the pass rush? Do you understand how nervous people get? We'll have one game they have 6 sacks, and then you got 1.5. You have men coming in and out every year. They trying to get older guys to come in and try to face something that's not even real. Get you some young dogs that can be there 3, 4, 5 years, and then you got 2 guys that are going to compete against each other. When I got drafted, it was me and Sean Ellis. When I went to the Jets, it was 2 pass rushers, and you had to see which one we're going to keep. They ended up keeping Sean, so hey, it is what it is. So hopefully both of these guys will be dogs, and you got to worry about either one of them. But it's a good advantage for me. I think it makes more sense than anything because, like I said, if you live in Atlanta, and I'm a John Abraham, so my name get dropped so much. I'm going to miss it, but I'm happy that it's over with. Like, hey, we haven't had somebody since John Abraham. I'm like, I'm right here, dude. I understand. So it is what it is, man. But I think it was a good draft overall. Even getting the safeties, I think Xavier is going to be just – if you look how that guy plays, like the guys that have them like Troy Polamalu type sense that they don't make any kind of – the face don't change, whether it's a – big hit or interception or anything, a guy that he's strictly football, even though he's probably one of the smartest guys it's just those guys that that love football and their intentions are bad when they get there.
Absolutely. Philip, Robert, Cody, I know you guys have questions here for the John himself, so Cody, take it away, brother, your question.
Yeah, John, I was going to say, you kind of already answered my question there. I was going to say, other than Jalen and Pierce Jr., who are the guys that we took do you think is going to be like that guy that starts day one and makes an immediate impact on this defense?
I don't care about none of them other guys. I care about Jeff Ulbrich. He got even with his son putting more pressure on him, he got to put a defense together that these 2 first-round picks show off. You got to have Jesse Bates being an amazing leader. You got to make sure that the D tackles because y'all got rid of Grady Jarrett, a fan favorite, which is, that's a lot to replace. I don't care how good the defense is. I don't care how good the next guy's coming up is Grady Jarrett. It's a name that's going to always reside in Atlanta. There's poster boards everywhere with Grady Baby on it. So it's like all kind of crazy stuff going on. So my thing is for Jeff Ulbrich to make sure this little situation is gone. And the only way he can do that is just being one of these defense that all we talking about is defense. So his name going to be talked about so much that you pad your stats. So we have one bad thing, but we have 99 good things. So that's my big thing. So I'm not worrying about the players he drafted. I'm worrying about him putting those players in the right defense because every one of these players they drafted, the corners, well, not the corners, the 2 safeties, they're good players. Now let's put them in a good defense. Let's make sure these young guys don't have to work. Me personally, I would 3-4 the hell out of these two guys. I get 3 down linemen and 2 guys, and you don't know who's rushing. You can get a double blitz with both guys coming, and you have like another Mike linebacker coming back and dropping in. You have a Mike like a cuz Caden Ellis actually is a good blitzer down the middle. So if you're saying we can't get sacks this year from what we have, I mean, Caden just, if you saw last year, all he did was like blitzing. He was getting sacks, getting pressure. And think about, you got Caden coming in the middle, and you got one of these guys coming around the edge, so they can't outrun these guys, obviously. So that's the big thing for me. I'm not worrying about the players now. Now it's like it's time for Jeff to like, okay, bro, we gave you, and seeing how he did with the Jets and their defense, it should be almost the same type of chemistry.
So speaking on Grady Jarrett here for a second, they had an interview, the Water Boys, shout out to the Water Boys. They had an interview with AJ Terrell this past week, and AJ was talking about the departure of Grady Jarrett and what that meant, and just the body style and the power that Grady Jarrett brought to a locker room. So, John, I guess my question is, man, how big of a step is it for Jalen Walker being that number 15 selection, you being a first-round pick in the past? How big of a step is that for a young guy coming into such a big shooter? I know he's not a defensive tackle, but somebody's looking to fill that captain spot on that defense side of the ball. Is Jalen Walker the guy for that?
Jesse Bates is the guy for right now, I think. Even though Jesse Bates is a quiet guy, I think he's the most dependable guy. He's the one that has really led the defense. He should have been all-pro since he's been here. You know, he kind of got shafted last year. You know, he got second all-pro. That made no sense. But he's the kind of guy I think that should lead the team. But not saying Jalen Walker can't come in and do that. I'm not saying he can't do that. It's possible. But seeing how that defense was, I would be relying on him. And even though AJ Terrell is a quiet guy, I got to rely on those guys there to be the face of the defense until we can give Jalen that number. First of all, Jalen got 11, so he put a lot on his back, literally. You know what I'm saying? You put a lot on your back for getting number 11, you know. And so that's the kind of thing that, you know, if you're going to get that number, you better come correct. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be like everybody and their mama going to talk anytime. Oh, man, you got number 11. That's Julio's number. You know, it's going to be on there for a while. So it can either be one of those blessings. It can be one of those blessings like 88 is for, you know, for Dallas. And it can accumulate until 10 years from now. If another guy gets 11, then it'll be the favorite number. So every time a good player comes, we'll throw 11 on them. So you can make this. So you can make this a positive thing. But I think I'm being realistic, for a rookie that come in this league, if you can get 5 to 10 sacks, you're proud. If you can get 8 to 14, you really got a monster. But let's be realistic. So coming into the regime, and like I said, if Jeff can just get him some one-on-ones, get these guys tasting the quarterback early, because I think all the teams in the NFC South this year are going to be good or better. I want to say good. I'll say better. You know what I mean? I think New Orleans, even if they ain't got no quarterback, I think they're going to be better. I think Carolina's going to be. I think Tampa's going to be better. So I think it's going to be different than we think. I think that the quarterback. I think Penix is gonna. I think he might have a slow start just because it's beginning of a year. You know what I mean? It's not like the end of the year is kind of like I don't care. You know, we got 4 games. You know, it's kind of rocky. So the beginning of the year, I might say they start off a little slow, just because young defense. Now you got a young quarterback. So the first couple games might be a little shaky, but I think the end of the year, I can see this being a 10 to 11 win team easy. NFC South right now, I'm not sure, because I think Carolina's going to be better than they were last year.
I've been telling my co-host here, man, I think Carolina could be an issue this season. It's always a team that you split games with every year. Now you have a team that's, Bryce started playing decent football towards the end of the season. They got the new receiver in Carolina. Then they go and they kind of splurge on the defense side of the ball. They get a good running back and Buddy from Georgia. So the Carolina Panthers, I don't think teams should sleep on this year.
Exactly.
Mr. Robert, I know you've excited to have John on the show tonight, brother, and we're going to throw it back to the older days of Mr. Robert. Robert, you got a question for John?
It's an honor and pleasure to meet you, John. Glad to have you on the show tonight. Quick question, though. When you found out that the Jets were trading you to Atlanta, what was your initial reaction?
I was happy as a maggot in a bag of cheese.
Yes, sir.
When I said I was so happy, man, because you got to understand, a lot of people don't understand the trades ain't got nothing to do with money sometimes. It ain't got nothing to do with how you're playing. It got to do, like, how you feel going to work. I don't know if y'all ever had a job, and maybe there was just one person, your boss just didn't get along, or you had a coworker you get along. So you couldn't, like, even if you're productive in your job, it's just like coming to work was the problem. Like I used to come to work and I'd be like, man, they still talking about I sat out of the game. I had an LCL injury and the coaches ain't even had my back. You know, it's like I've been all pro. I've made 3 Pro Bowls. They still saying they don't want to pay me. So it was just like, and this has nothing to do with the Jets now. This is just like the business part of it. But you understand, I'm not a business guy. I was a love guy. It's like you're in love with a woman and she like, well, you didn't get me this kind of ring. I'm gonna leave you. Whose heart's gonna be broken? Yours. You like, shit, I thought we was good. Oh no, but this ring is too cheap for me. But but I'm like, I loved you. I thought this was for love. I was down from New York for wherever. So I would have stayed if the paper was right and everything like that. But I was happy because, and the main reason why I was happy was because I got to choose the team that I was traded to. And I think if anybody understands, that's a big thing in football. Like you get the opportunity to pick which team you go to. Because I'm being from South Carolina, I wanted to play for Carolina because it's just closer to home. But I got to play for Atlanta, and I think Atlanta ended up being my home. I mean, I'm still there now. I think a lot of my ex-teammates, people be like, I didn't even know you played for the Jets. I said, exactly. And he was like, well, most of your success came with the Falcons. I said, no, it really didn't. I had 3 Pro Bowls. I made all pro when I was there. I had a bunch of sacks when I was there too. I said, when I came to Atlanta, they had Julius Peppers, they had Jared Allen, they had a lot of NFC guys. So it was like I made 1 Pro Bowl the whole time in 7 years. Now, did I do good for the Falcons? Heck yeah, I did. But I'm saying that it was a different chemistry. But I would always probably take the Falcons first just because I got to choose them. Not necessarily because I hate the Jets or anything like that. I just hated the thing going around. I didn't hate the organization. I just hated what was going around with me.
Robert, while we're in the past, you want to go ahead and ask about the Bobby Petrino? Your question?
Yeah. In between the Jim Mora era and the Mike Smith era was the disastrous 2007 season. What was the atmosphere like in the locker room under Bobby Petrino, and how much of a cultural shift and a breath of fresh air was it when Mike Smith took over, and of course Matt Ryan comes in, and 1 year quick turnaround? What was the feeling amongst the players in the locker room during 2007?
I can't speak for everyone. I can speak for a few older guys I talked to. I can speak for some guys were, some guys from Louisville end up getting an opportunity to be in the league for a long time, quarterback, safety, stuff like that. So some guys were probably happy he came because they got a chance to be in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can't say it was bad for everybody, but I can say for me personally, trying to, like, I grew up in the old time things that you kind of listen to what the coach say, you ride out to the coach. Even if you feel like it's wrong, you don't want to separate a team, so you'll sit there and try to listen to the dumb stuff they say. This dude was so pointless as an NFL coach. It was literally just a check. It was just a waste of grown men time. It was a waste of a year of people's lives, and I don't think people understand that. When it was even the audacity he had, how he just left and went and took another job, like F all y'all. And that was one of the, like, if you're going to be a man and you want to say you're a man, you want people to respect you as men, just finish your job. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to take another job and be happy as hell. Like, ooh, yeah, I got it. I'm like, dude, but you just, I mean, Redmond was happy probably. Redmond got to be in the NFL. I'm like, there's certain things that, that I can't say it was terrible for everybody, but also it ended up being a transition of Mike Smith, and the possibility of us, and we definitely got Matt Ryan. It led to Julio Jones. It led to a lot of positive things with that effed up season. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like we shot ourselves in the foot. It was just a bad business decision. I'll tell you one thing, and I always repeat this story. When I knew that, when I knew Arthur Blank was an OG, triple OG, he came in, right? He took his coat off because he never. I thought he was just a cool, laid-back dude. Just rich. We think every rich people don't have like personality. We think they just be buttholes stuck up and they just worry about their money. He came in there, he took his coat off. Man, guys, I fucked this one up. He was like, I apologize. I shouldn't have bought that man here. I apologize, guy. And this is the first time I've ever seen him mad. And I've only been there a couple years, and he took the jacket off. And you see a rich person take their jacket off, it's about to be some business. So I was just like, man, and he just went off on me. He was like, I'll make it up to y'all, and I put this on me, So that's a lot of stuff that went down, and I try not to talk about him because it's just, like it was a waste of a year. Like literally, it was a waste of a year.
Well, and I honestly didn't. I was excited about, the hiring, and I mean, and I'm sure that Petrino come in with the thought that he's going to be matching X's and O's with the most dynamic quarterback in the league at the time, and nobody knew what was going to happen with Michael.
Right.
But
no, I think even if we had Mike, it wouldn't have lasted long because how the locker room was. He was running like college. Like we had to be quiet in certain situations. We weren't allowed to be men. Like we had to come to like pregame at a certain time, and usually at pregame you kind of like it's kind of like them wandering buffaloes. One person come in here because I might want to get there at 6. My homeboy get there at 7. I might want to be at the stadium at 9. You can't talk loud. You can't do certain things, and it was just like literally a college thing. Like you was trying to show men how to be like boys how to be men, but we was already men. We already established like what we wanted to do and how we wanted to play. But it wouldn't have worked. Like even if we would have still had Mike, it wouldn't have worked because Mike would have said something eventually. It would have came out that like some stuff is just inevitable. Like whoever would have played quarterback for us, or because how he did, it would have happened anyway. I think.
Mr. John, we got a question here from Sterling Woods in the chat. He says, Walker and Pierce consider this a good year. So for them to consider this a good year, what do they have to accomplish?
Finish the season, pretty much. I think as rookies, we can sit here. If they can get 10 to 20 sacks between them, I think it's a win. I mean, if you look at what's the guy from San Diego? From Los Angeles. He just got rookie. He had 5 sacks. The guy from Florida State. Yeah, Jared Verse. Jared Verse. He had 5 sacks. He made the Pro Bowl, but what it was, he was making plays. He was making like the defenses different. He was doing different things. So as a rookie, all you got to do is show up. Like be smart, be around the ball, cause havoc. Like no matter what, whether it's cause fumble, whether it's a big hit, just always be on tape because you understand. Like it's just like you dating a new girl. The other girl can do good things, but when that new girl comes start doing things, you start paying attention. So you got the new thing coming in there. They can be somebody else doing getting 10, but your new girl coming doing 5. You're gonna like that 5 a little more than 10 till you get to that 10. So it's the same thing. So you gotta understand you got a new player and he coming in doing stuff, he wrecking stuff. Like the numbers might not be as good as one of the veteran players, but it's a new time you see him. So all I need these dudes is to play smart. First of all, that's the biggest thing to me. Like being a retired guy, if I would have like really paid attention to being a smarter football player instead of like my physical attributes I had when I was younger. So and I think Jeff would do a good job of getting these guys and putting them in a position because they're natural athletes. You just got to put them in a position that they can just go.
John, I know you also covered the Jets a little bit, and so that kind of gets in the way of you interacting with a lot of these Falcon players. But a guy in Zach Harrison, we drafted, I believe, 3 years ago now. He's had a new defensive coordinator each year in the NFL. He's a big edge. He's even gained a lot of weight. I've been hearing that he could play a little bit of defensive tackle this year. Zach Harrison in Atlanta, a third-year player, and still really hasn't had the big impact that Falcon fans thought he would. How hard is it for a guy like Zach Harrison to adapt to 3 new DCs each year in the NFL?
Well, like I said, I don't really – for me, it never was an issue about who the DC was because, I was a pass rusher. Mm-hmm. And that's just personal skills. Like, DC shouldn't matter if you're – okay, you got a quarterback that's a little different. You got a cornerback, no. You got a middle linebacker, no, unless you change from a 3-4 to a 4-3. So it's a lot of positions that it shouldn't matter. Like, if you're going to be a dog – at a position like a D tackle, like if you're a good D tackle, you're going to be a good tackle. If you're a good defensive end, you're going to be a good defensive end. If you're a good outside linebacker / rusher, you're going to be a good outside run. It don't really, like I said, sometimes like with Caden Ellis, like I said, it's a little different because he's a system guy. You put him in and you blitz in the right corner, you do it. He's a smart guy. He knows how to get there smart. So I can't say it's the DC. I can say that it could be frustrating because of different names. Because a lot of times when they change books, people don't. Everything is the same. Like this is how I got smart in football. I took every play that was the same and I put it in one little bunch. Whether it was a blitz, whether like if I got to go inside on this play, all these plays I'm going inside. All these plays I'm staying outside. All these plays I'm blitzing. All these plays I'm doing this. And I just got them all in the category. And I did like this compared to trying to learn a blitz package and then trying to learn a sub package and then trying to learn a regular package at all the same time. Like what play is this? All these plays are the same thing. So whenever I hear that word, okay. That's my cue to go inside. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you got to simplify your life instead of trying to like, oh, what's the defense thing? No, man, just take this play. Okay, I got this play is inside. This play is inside. This play is inside. This play I cover the back. This play I cover the back. And then don't even worry about whether it's dime, nickel, anything. Just get everything and crowd it into one area.
Yes, sir. Chat. While we got the man John, get your questions in. We have another about 15 to 20 minutes here on the show with the man John Abraham. Cody, the mic is yours, brother.
Yeah, John. So now I'll get back into this. What'd you graduate in, by the way? What'd you wind up majoring?
Liberal studies with the emphasis on sociology and psychology.
Okay.
Big words.
Very big words. I say, is there something that you're wanting to do with it? I was gonna say, I know you're big like.
Nah, not at all, bro. You know the funny thing, I want to maybe do podcasts and maybe I'm gonna continue to talk about my life and the mental health situations.
Yep.
And just finishing this degree is really something that can strengthen my mental health way more than people think. There's a lot of things that we say we can't do or we can't do, and that weakens our mental health. So me doing this, and I got all A's, like I was on Dean list. So this like because I knew I could do it, and like I put work into this like I did when I played football back in '96 through '99, and y'all might not probably weren't even born or something, but in '96 and '99, that's when like it was strictly football. They didn't care about what you was doing in study. You were here to be an athlete. You weren't here to be a scholar. So now I got a chance to be a scholar, so I took it very seriously, and I put my nose in the book, and I got it done. And so I'm very proud of it. And also, like I said, that's a small checkoff. I think people got to understand there's a such thing as the little wins, and the little wins add up. Whether it's getting out of bed in the morning, whether it's washing your ass, whether it's brushing your hair. No, I'm talking about the most minuscule. The funny thing is, I start doing things like, okay, instead of dropping something on the counter, let me take it and put it in the trash. I can do all that less than a minute. Okay, okay, I got to do this. I got to brush my teeth. You can just do it less than a minute. Just do it in a minute. Do it in a minute. So I start doing little small things, and then now they're like, it's just natural. You know, like anything you do, it just become natural. Like even with walking, like I want to get back in shape. Let me just start walking like a little place. And I start doing this, going to the gym. I say, I'm just going to walk in at first. And I start walking in and I start getting comfortable again. So everything in life is the same way. Even like doing the podcast, when y'all ask me to come on, I'm like, sure. Because if I want to get good at this, I got to have reps. Just like with football, just like anything like. So this is like doing reps for me, whether it's good, bad, and different. Will I mess up here? And I was talking to one of my ex-teammates, Seville Newton, today. And I was like, man, think about how many plays you had. You didn't get a sack every play. You didn't get a touchdown every play, but you came back and how many times you messed up a play? Like all them plays you didn't get a sack, all them times I didn't get a tackle, all them plays I didn't get a touchdown. Those are really considered losses. But we came back and did it over and over and over and over, practiced it over and over. So I got to do the same thing in life with stuff that I want to do.
We got one more question here from Sterling Wood. It says, what side did you like rushing on, and what move did you like the most? I think I already know John's answer to this. You just like getting to the quarterback, but what side?
I didn't give a damn. Like I like whichever one was the weakest tackle or the one that couldn't guard me. Whoever couldn't guard me, I'm going on that side. Like if they a tight end on this side, I'm going away from the tight end. If the tight end on this side, I'm going away from the tight end. Hey, I would have came through the middle if they would let me more. And I'm telling you, so I didn't give a damn, man. I had fun out there, man. I'm saying like one thing that, and I tell people, I think the reason why a lot of us suffer through mental kind of hardship when we done football, this is something you can never do again.
Right.
Yep.
Think about it. You can't never touch yourself again. You be mad as hell. This is the last time, buddy. This is the last time you're ever going to feel this. This is the last time. Like, think about it. This is the last time I'm ever going to sack a quarterback. This is the last time I'm ever going to walk on the field to be padded up and hit somebody. This is the last time I'm going to have the opportunity of winning the Super Bowl. This is the last time. Something I created my whole life. And this is the last time I'm doing it. Some people don't get surprised by it. Some people have a career. Some people have years that I'm going to play for 10 years. 2 years, they're done. So it's a lot of mental stuff. You know, like so that's probably the biggest thing for me. You know, like left and right didn't matter. Like long as I can get that opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Cody?
So kind of on that, John, I was gonna say, you know, obviously, like you know, you do realize one day, like, hey, this is it. This is the last time I get to put on that helmet, the pads. How did you eventually? Because you know, I played for a while. Not to the degree that you did, but you know, it was tough knowing, hey, this is the last time I can put on this helmet and these shoulder pads. And it took me a while too, to really kind of find a way. Like I'm normally not a depressed person, but there for like that year after football, man. So it was really tough. What did you do to kind of get over, not even really get over, but how were you able to deal with that and find a way to be like, hey, there's life after football. There's life, beyond this. How did you kind of get over that mental hurdle?
I ain't gonna never get over it, and that's how I got over it. I'm never gonna get over it. I'm always gonna have these itches. I'm always gonna have these. I'm gonna have dreams still. I'm gonna have it, but you got to incorporate it into your life and know it's a part of your life. You did that, dude. Like, it's just like washing your ass. You did that. Like, it's the certain stuff you've done in your life that you're always gonna remember. You were born. You probably don't remember it, but you know it happened. So it's just like with football. You like, instead of me being like sad about it, I don't brag about it, but I talk my truth. Oh, I did have 133 and a half sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I am 13 over all, and I was leading the sacks. So it's certain things that you like. I don't like people who brag saying I could have went to the Super Bowl. I could have did this. No, I just stick to my strict facts. I don't try to I don't try to blow myself up. I don't say I was the best who ever did it, but I played my ass off, and I was one of the best who ever did it. So I can say that because my stats show that, and the number where I'm lined up. So I try to speak the truth on the situations, and I don't try to think about what I didn't do as much now as I used to. Like, that I can't never do this again because I didn't do this. I don't have to do it again because I don't have anything else to prove. I proved myself on the field. I proved myself in life, what y'all doing now. Y'all proving yourself now because you're on this podcast. You want to do it, and y'all doing it. Whether y'all number one or y'all number 1 million, y'all still doing it. So that's what people got to start taking gratification of stuff like that compared to where you're lining up at. Like, when I played football, I didn't care if I was the worst end. If I was starting, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were 32 teams. If I'd have been like out of the 64 ends, if I'd have been 64, hell, I'm still in the league. Kiss my ass. What you want to talk about? Like, oh, you're the worst end in the league. I'm in the damn league. Shut up. Like, come on. So sometimes you gotta take the good and the bad, man, and don't dwell on it in a negative light. Try to find the positive lights in anything you do, and that's what I try to do now. Because think about it, you can have 100 things happen today, and one bad thing can ruin 99 others. That's blasphemy. That's the worst thing ever, and you got to start thinking like, I'm having a good day. How am I going to let this one thing ruin my good day?
Yep, absolutely, John. Everything you just stated about your career, your sack numbers, your 3-time Pro Bowler, your first-round draft selection. So my last question for you tonight, John, this may not even be a question that you can answer, but when can I go to a game and see John Abraham walk across the Ring of Honor stage?
I think the Ring of Honor for them is pretty much a decision of what you do off the field, maybe. And I didn't do a lot off the field because I was playing football. I didn't really think about stuff like that. And the stuff I did wasn't polarized like that. I've done stuff for my community. I've done stuff for this. And, like, I'm not the kind of guy I need a camera to follow me when I'm doing community work. A lot of people, they make sure that you see their giving. And it makes sense because you want other people to give too. But, my giving is kind of like, stuff I do for my family, stuff I do for my friends, stuff I do in the community. But I don't have to, I don't really want that acknowledgement that every time y'all see me like, oh, John's out here giving people food, or John's out here having the turkey thing. Like, for me, like, I've never had a charity because I don't feel like it's charity if I'm getting paid from it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people have these charities like the foundations and stuff. Like, I see it and I'm looking like, well, they making so I've never had one because it's just like, for me, it's like, it's cool. You can raise the money, but why you need a foundation for it unless you getting something out of it? So it's just a lot of stuff how things work, and you look at stuff and they're like, this is not what I wanted to do in my life, so I just never did it. But I think it's more of that. I know everyone knows it had nothing to do with my numbers. I mean, that's not even, it has nothing to do, but they have a criteria that they go by, and if I don't meet that criteria, that's fine, as long as they still like ask me to come by. The fans recognize me as the person I am, and also me doing stuff like this and trying to be in the community now, seeing a lot of the guys, the fans, and the people around Atlanta like pushing like Abraham does deserve to be in the Ring of Honor for what he did. Even though he didn't do this, but he deserves that, and I think that means a lot.
Absolutely, John. It's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast, man. Philip, Cody, Robert. Any last questions for the man before we get ready to close the show out?
No, I would say, man, I just appreciate you coming on here. I know I told you last time that you were a big inspiration to me, and I know that was kind of one of the things you're like, hey, don't look at me as inspiration, because be your own thing. But man, I can't tell you how much I enjoy talking to you. I learn every time I listen to you talk, man. So I just appreciate you being on here.
Mr. Robert.
Well, forget what I said and take any inspiration you need from me, big dog.
I
Hey,
got
if I said that before, I probably having a bad damn day too. Skip. Hey,
You're good, John.
I say, man, take anything you want me, as long as you ain't stealing. You know
Oh
what
no,
I'm
I
saying?
say no. You're my dude, man. I say you're the reason. You're the reason I wear the 55.
No question. I love the number. You know I do.
Yes,
I got
sir,
it on my list right now.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Robert, last words from Mr. Abraham.
It's just a pleasure to have you on tonight, John. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I just want to say thanks for the words about, mental health and, to look at things in a positive light. I'm going to be honest, that's something that I struggle with constantly and have for a long time. Chase, Cody, and Philip, they know a lot about the struggles I've had. And, just any words of encouragement, I greatly appreciate it, and, just want you to know that I took your words to heart tonight, and it means a lot to me, and means a lot to have you on the show tonight and to get to talk with you.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. It's okay to have a bad moment, but just don't have a bad day. And as much as you feel like people don't love you, there are a lot of people that care about you. It's got to be, like I said, the small wins. It's the decision making that you got to see yourself how you see your friends. You got to talk to yourself how you talk to your friends, and you got to live in your truth and not as what you think you are. I think a lot of us have thoughts of negative things. It's kind of like a bird flying over your head. My friend told me this. It's like a bird flying over your head. He shit on you once, you're gonna move the second time. So when you have that negative thought, you're gonna have to start moving. When you have that negative thought, you're gonna have to move, because if you sit there and take it, you're gonna keep getting shit on. So the big thing is to keep moving, man. And when you have that negative thought, and this sounds stupid, but you're gonna have to overhaul it with 10 positive things that you've done. Look, I'm a good father. Or I don't know what you got kids now. Okay, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. I'm good at this. I'm gonna have a great day. I'm gonna be a good person. I'm this. I'm this. I'm this. And if you're not all that, I don't care. Try to get it. You know what I'm saying? So, but definitely you got to be your biggest fan. And it's hard sometimes, man. It's hard to be your biggest fan because you might compare yourself to something that is irrational. You might compare yourself to something that you could have had compared to what you have in front of you. So focus on what is in front of you. Focus on your present. Try to do CBT, DBT. It works on your negative, turn to positive mentality. And like I said, take the little wins, man. Whenever you're feeling bad, just take a walk. Take your phone, take a walk, turn on one of the worst songs. Don't turn on Adele or Sam Smith, you'll go crazy. But turn on one of the songs that you like. Turn on a song and just take that 5-minute walk, whether it's around the house, or just clean up something, clean up a pan, clean up a dish, and take that as a win for the day, man. It's small wins that's going to end up making the big wins mean something to you. And the big wins is going to be the same measurement as the small wins. And when you start seeing life like that, it'll start coming a lot easier, man.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you much.
Gotcha.
You muted.
Philip, I was going to say, I know you've been lagging tonight, so you really haven't had to ask John a bunch of questions, but shout outs from Mr. John tonight.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming in as a young guy, man. The wisdom that you bring and that you telling these guys is something I can look forward, putting for myself, going in certain things that I want to do, like, whether it's this content thing or, just streaming in general or just doing other things in life.
No doubt. Hey,
it's actually helpful. I'll hold on to that.
Yeah, all those guys up here would love to be your age, bro. That's all I'm saying. So take everything you can and use as much as you can. The more, it's the dumbest thing. They say the more you know, the further you go. It's the truth, man. And even if it's something that you're not impressed by, just learn it anyway. Bump it.
Mr. John, man, once again, I don't want to take up too much time, brother. We've had you here for 30 minutes. I appreciate you coming through, man. Let the fans know. I mean, I know they know how to get a hold of you, but let them know where to find you at, Mr. John.
Well, my tag is at j.abraham55 on Instagram, Twitter, 55 Get Live. Everywhere else,
Get Live.
Everywhere, that's it right there, but that's me.
Mr. John, we appreciate you, brother. Glad to have you here tonight, man. To all the fans that came through, we appreciate you guys. Jabri Harper in the chat says, thank you for coming through. Great advice. My guy, LaMarcus Boyd says, thank you for signing my jersey. It's in my man cave. So, John, as you see, man, all the diehard Falcon fans still rock with you, baby. 55 will forever be a legend in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Falcon fans, thank you for tuning in. John, thank you once again, brother. A-Town down, man. Rise up. Appreciate y'all.
Rise up.